everybody out there. Welcome to The Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Sapphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts.
Hi, and I'm Camille Barron, a financial organizer and healthcare advisor, also in Sharon, Massachusetts. And can you see that we both have big smiles on our face today, Roberta and I, because we're very happy that we have the return of someone who is the expert on college planning today, Roberta.
Absolutely. And he's been with us since 2014, and you can find him helping students and their families all over. It is our pleasure and honor to welcome Stan Ezekiel. Did I say it right?
You did wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, Stan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been helping families through the college planning and the college financial process for over 30 years. I started because when my son got to be a sophomore in high school, he started talking about college, and I really didn't know what to do. And I started looking for help, and I couldn't find any help.
No.
And so at that point, I just decided, well, I'll just start moseying around, see what I can find and helping. And then we've grown into college planning group. We're set up to help families who want help. Many families out there do want help through the process, but they don't know where to go. And so we're here, and we just help them. That's what we do.
You know, Stan, what I really find very impressive about the services that you provide is that instead of just helping them with the financial planning, because obviously that's a very important piece of it, you really help them from even before they get to that point, because you have a very comprehensive service, correct?
That is correct. And you know, my elevator speech is what we do is help families through the college planning and the college financial aid process. And the question is, which is more important, college planning or college financial planning? Well, they're both equally important. And that's why the work I do is we start with the student and help them find the right college. It's very, very important that students go to college based on what they want. Do they want a big school? Do they want a little school? Do they want a city school? Do they want a rural school? What's going to be best for them? And then we help them with their resume. We make sure that they stay on target through the process. Even though colleges today keep saying, oh, SATs are optional, ACTs are optional. Optional is really meaning take them.
Right.
Okay.
There's another thing. Besides all that too, I notice that a lot of times, do you tell them, like, I think you look at what they're involved in. Are they involved in community service? Do they involved in sports? Which is the best for them the way it is? And that's why I know you said you started when they're a sophomore, so they don't wait till they're seniors. And then I know you do whole families too.
Yeah.
But go ahead, tell us some more.
Yeah, it's very important. Colleges today are looking for students, not just to fill a seat, but to fill help on their campus, to become part of the community. So being in sports, being in clubs, doing community service, that's another reason we ask the students to put together an academic resume. So everything is right there. And when they're going to visit colleges, when they're going for college interviews, they have their whole 4 years of high school right in front of them, and they can give it to the interviewer, they can give it to the admissions office. It also can be emailed, okay, showing interest to the college. All of those things are very important in the process, making sure the essay is done right, making sure the applications are done right. I don't know if you've seen it, but about 5 or 6, about 8 years ago, I started making sure that every time we had a student who was applying to college, we checked their application to make sure it was done right. Reason why? Kids today keep forgetting that they have to capitalize their name. They have to capitalize their street and their city addresses. All of that stuff is important. And you'd be surprised how much we have to change, even when we tell them we're going to check it and why. It's just the way they are. They're just so used to not doing capital letters.
Right, they're doing they're doing all these text messages and there's no punctuation,
Yeah,
no capitalization, so I can see that.
yeah.
But you know, Stan, let's back up a little bit even further than what you said about the application, because you also provide education and career planning for those students who may not have a solid idea of what they want to go do. They can't really choose a college effectively unless they know what they want to do. So that's where the career helps.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, but I always say that when I start working with a student, the only thing I care about when I'm talking to them is that they want to go to college, because we could help them find their way. We have a program that we use. It's called Focus 2. That's very good, that every student gets an opportunity to use, and they can help find their way. But even if they want to go to college and they don't know, many students go and they don't know exactly what they want. But there are many colleges out there, especially liberal arts colleges, where they have so many options. So where they're not specific, okay, like they just don't know, you go to a school that has a lot of options, because they can get started. There's going to be classes that they're going to have to take, and by the sophomore year, they'll be able to make a choice.
Yeah, do you have situations where the parents sit in with them and they go where the parents tell them to because they figure, well, they'll lead them in the right direction, or is it more themselves today and the parents stay out of it? I mean,
Oh
how's
no,
it going?
there's always parents who want to lead their students, and that's fine. But when I start working with a student, I sort of separate them, okay? Because I want the student to find their own way, okay? And when the students, I know nobody really knows. I don't know what I know. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I was 17 years old. I don't know what I want to be now.
I
Okay?
wanted to be a movie star and go to California.
Yeah. But it's very important today that the students find their way, because there's too many options and you have to make sure you have the right fit. Okay. And so, over 90% of the students we work with have graduated from 4-year colleges in 4 years, okay, which is the key, because in today's world, it takes about 5.8 years to get a 4-year degree.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
Why do you say that?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Camille,
why do you say that? 5-point-something years.
because that's what it takes. Okay. Colleges will always tell you what their graduation rate is. Okay. 40%, 70%, whatever, but that's in 6 years. Okay. So, but by the college board has given the number 5.8, between 5.6 and 5.8, depending when. But that's how long it takes. So that's over 2.5 years, a year and a half more of tuition. So with the proper planning up front, families can end up saving hundreds of thousands, $100,000 or more, depending on the college that the student's going to.
Interesting. So can you walk our audience through the process step by step, beginning when a student comes to you for help? What are the steps that you start with, and then how do you walk them through the rest?
And it also points out if parents are divorced, separated, today they have what makes a difference in same-sex marriages, divorces, or if any of that counts with these kids.
Okay, so that all of that would come out in my initial consultation. We always give a free consultation to any family. And we do it in our office here in Canton. I do it through Zoom, but the whole idea is that everybody's on the same page as we go through. And so I will go through, I will ask the student what they want, what they're looking for. I ask what their grades are, and rolling down to the point of helping them find colleges that are going to fit their needs. Okay, that's all part of the process. And then we take it step by step after we start working with them. We're going to be in contact with them. If they come in as a sophomore, we're going to talk to them at least once a month. Okay, if they're coming in as a junior, say early in the junior year, then we'll talk to them at least every 2 weeks. If they're coming into us as a senior, we're going to be every 10 days. Okay, we're going to be with them the whole way, helping them find their way, making sure they're doing things that are going to be help them to get to the goal, which is applying for college and being accepted. We help them all the way through that process, always being available to them, because it's very important in today's world, and you know it as well as I do, that it's a Burger King society. They want it today and they want it their way. And so when kids are asking questions, we have to be available to answer them. And we are. I check my email every night before I go to bed, just to make sure that nobody's come ahead and thrown something in there that I didn't see. And if I can answer it, that's even better. But a lot of times I'll just have to say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get it to you tomorrow. But at least they know they're going to get it. That's a key element in our process. And okay, now to what you mentioned, Roberta, about the divorce and separation situation, yes, that is a situation. And in today's world, as of today, and when I talk about the financial aid, it's what we know today, what we have going on today, because that changes all the time. But if the parent is divorced or separated, it is the income of the custodial parent whose income is used. It's not both parents. And I've seen families make big mistakes where they fill out the FAFSA as if they're married because it says parent. The FAFSA doesn't always give the right information for the families. So
can you explain what the FAFSA is for some of our audience who may not be familiar with it?
Oh, okay. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. And any family who has a child going to college who wants to achieve any financial aid has to complete the FAFSA. Every family has to complete the FAFSA. Now, which is the free application for federal student aid. Some colleges, about 189, I think it is, or 190, mainly private colleges, also require a form called the CSS profile. And that CSS profile digs a little deeper into the income and the assets of the family. And then also, maybe the college itself has their own financial aid form. We fill out all those forms for families, okay, so that they don't have to. I tried having them do it themselves at one time, but they just can't copy right, okay? So that's why we do it for them, and that way it's all done right and it's done on time. That's a big part of it.
That's good. Oh, one thing is, I know, do you find, and I know you're available to go speak to groups because we have our financial literacy Brighten Up Club at the high school and outside. Are you available, just to let our audience know, you're available to talk to groups about financial aid and financial and college planning?
More than happy to, absolutely.
Hmm.
What kind of
These-
questions do they come up at these groups?
It's, most of the time families are asked questions that are gonna be their concern. What happens to, what do I do with my retirement account? Is my retirement account part of the process? And the answer is no. Even though it is an asset for the family, you don't have to tell that information on the FAFSA. And it's not supposed to be used in the equation. Okay, that's a big thing. Some families, the big thing is making sure you do the financial aid as early as possible. Okay, as of now, you cannot do the financial aid for the school year 24-25 until October 1st. Okay.
Mm.
And so from our standpoint here, we start doing all the financial aid sometime around October 3rd or 4th, because everybody, especially this year, because October 1st is a Sunday, everybody's going to be sitting there waiting to do the financial aid on the FAFSA on Sunday. And it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
blow up the system.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
And
Okay.
nobody's going to be there to fix it.
We just got a question come in. What happens if the student is accepted at their first choice college, but then come to find out there's no financial aid available? What kind of
question.
suggestions do you give them if that happens?
Well, I think that's going to depend on the school. It's going to depend on the student. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors. Okay. Is the student applying to a college where he's or she is a great student, but not up to what they want, what that college is looking for? A lot of times they just accept students to say, okay, if you want to come, you can come, but you're not going to get any aid. But in the real picture, what we do is help them ask for more aid. So we have to look, unfortunately, that nothing of what we do is cut and dry. Nothing is black and white. You always have to look at the whole picture and then come up with a reason why the student would ask for more money. You just can't ask them, say, I need more money, because everybody does.
You put in a lot, I know you put in a lot of work. This is, when you you have to evaluate the letters they get. You have to evaluate, like, what if they have certain hobbies? You have to know, does a college accept that? Do they care about that? Do they care about their participation in community service? Is there community service like that in the college that they're going to go to, and things like that? How do you compare all that?
Well, they're not looking for specifics. Okay, I always love it every time I'm talking to a parent and I say, what's your student do? Does it have good grades? Yes, but they're not in sports. Well, who cares? Doesn't matter whether they're in sports. It matters whether they're doing something. If they're in a club, that counts as much as being a football star. Okay. If they're in the National Honor Society, that counts as much as being a lacrosse star. They're all important. Every time, any extracurricular activity is important. Any volunteer work is important. That's why we go back to one of the first things we talked about is the academic resume. That's why we ask them to do that. So we can look and see what they're doing and say to them, hey, wait a minute, you're not doing anything here. You need to do something. You need to find, go to the food bank in your town and volunteer to do some work. go to your church and volunteer to do some cleanup or something around the church. There's all different things the students can do to make themselves look good on that resume.
Roberta, we've
Mm.
had a few students who have volunteered with us for the Lawyer Money and You, and then come to find out, they say that the fact that they did volunteer work with us was a factor in them getting accepted.
Absolutely. And you know, what's interesting, our students also, you know, the Rotary Club, which is all over the world, our students, I just got the new flyer. Our students are on the front of the new flyer, their picture. I mean,
Nice.
as helping, I thought it was a senior dinner, but it was the trunk or treat. But they also did that. They didn't even know that that was going to be. I got. Can you hand me that flyer? There's a Rotary flyer on that desk. It was on that desk if you can find it. But I mean, I was so excited to get it, and they do it. They do it, and then they realize afterwards, boy, this was a good thing. We're helping the Lawyer Money and You, which we're a 501c nonprofit, and the things we do, they participate in. And sometimes it's a mother that pushes them, or a friend that pushes them, and they are so happy afterwards. So we had, what was it, that one year we had 5 of our go to the Rotary Youth Leadership Camp, where they come out, teaches them leadership. And I can see that you have Stan, you have a similar thing. If they go with you, you can let them be molded into a presentable person. It helps not just for what you're doing for them, but as a person, it opens their head to see that there's other things besides just a lot of them, the mother fills out the form for them. The father, the mother fills out the form for them, but there's other ones that they don't want the parent. They feel they can do it on their own, which is fantastic. Also, we had somebody on careers. It turns out that the career that they chose, they don't end up being that. I think 95% of what people do today is not what they started out to be. But I think what the service you offer, Stan, lets them know that it opens up their head as to what's there, and they can say, gee, you know, I was interested in that, but I didn't think of doing that because Joey is doing this. I was just going to do what he does because he said, you know, that. But I mean, I think that's so great. It's just so great what's going on today. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
And you know, back when we were going to school many years ago, of course, colleges weren't as expensive as they are now.
Many.
I mean, even if you factor for inflation, I bet you that the cost of colleges even surpasses that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because there are so many students who otherwise may have been able to, but now they can't. And I guess that's why it's so important now to give a lot of thought to applying for financial aid, isn't it?
Yeah. Stan, what do you do with these students who are used to just walking around with a debit card and have no idea about bills being paid or anything like that? Because a lot of times, once they get into college, the parents say, hey, you're on your own. Do your own bills. You know, you balance your own thing. What can you say to them? Oh, how do you help them so that it's not just thrown at them?
Well, you know, that's one of the things that we're really thinking about here at College Planning Group is giving them some sort of a little finance course. When the students today aren't getting a lot of that information from the high school. I know that you have a program that's at Sharon High that I think is very good. One of the few high schools around that's giving the students a bit of understanding of how to handle money. I've talked to kids. I've referred them to banks where people I know in the banking industry are able to help them with a credit card and or debit card. So it also can start them off on a good foot when it comes to, credit reports. Make sure they have a good credit standing. So all of that is important. They're not getting enough of it today in high school. It's a shame. And I wish there was more we could do. But as we go through this process, there are things that we will help them with, tell them what they need to do, and tell the parents at the same time that they should be helping their students create a little bit of credit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Massachusetts has a program where they give funding to schools that promote these programs. And it's funny that it's not funny, it's sad and it's good. Some schools have it and some schools don't. And meanwhile, they could get these funding things from the state.
Yeah.
Have you had opportunity to see what the other states are doing where the colleges you're sending these kids to are not just in Massachusetts?
I don't know what you mean by that, Roberta.
Well, if they're in another state, do certain states look for more, or is the school?
The problem, again, to go back to what I said a little earlier, nothing we do is black and white. Every college handles things a little bit differently. We have students going to college in Massachusetts. We have students going all up and down the East Coast. And every state, every college does things their own way. And they accept students based on what they're looking for when they pick up that file. Okay. And some of them will get more financial aid, but you go through the financial aid process based on the FAFSA and the CSS profile if it's required. It's all the information that is given. And then the student, then the schools decide what they're going to give the students for aid.
We're going to be winding up soon. Believe it or not, this time went by fast. But there's any last point besides telling our viewers it's college planning. Stan, Ezekiel, right in Canton. You can tell them your email, your phone number, and if they want to know anything, they can contact us or you. And Camille, I'll let you wind up. Do whatever you want to do.
Okay. Well, Stan, what I'm gathering from this is that you provide students and their families a way to navigate through what otherwise might be onerous waters. It's intimidating. It's downright intimidating.
Mhm.
Figure out how to fill out these forms. And
I wish she was around when my kids went to school.
So it's great, and I know our viewers will appreciate what you do. As I said as Roberta said to our viewers, please be in touch with us if you'd like more information about this. And it's never too early to start planning. So thank you again. And I think that does it.
All right.
If you have any more questions, viewers, please get in touch with us, because remember, this is your show, The Law,
Your money,
and you.
and you.